Yo, it's Captain coming at you with another Star Rail Captain's Log for patch 2.1. This is the sixth one. Sixth one, because it's our sixth day of playing 2.1. Because we play that slow. We play that slow. Look, we're on par for like an hour of content per like game session. It's just the first time was like all the new patch stuff, so. And we did make it through about an hour of the content. We made it. This was mostly the deep dive into Aventurine section. Presumably the last time we see him, which I think we'll get to towards the end. Like, I think, because, like, we've been playing as him and stuff. I don't think we're going to play as him again. I think everybody's going to meet up with him, and it's going to be the big finale. Because there's only 1 hour, like, left in the content. This was, like, about the 4-hour mark to 5th hour mark. And it's mainly just one big scene of Aventurine. It's him in the what the hell is it called? Clocky World or something. Him in the theme park. However, we did see a little bit before, just a little bit before, and just a little bit after. So it's mainly like the Aventurine deep dive. Again, I don't think I'll have too much to say because it really is just the one scene. But there is like a lot to say about it. We'll see. I'm also tired, so I'm like, maybe it'll be a short bit. We'll see. But if you recall from yesterday, or the last play session, we left off with Acheron and Welt, and I thought there was going to be a lot more going on there, but really there wasn't. It was a quick scene overall, and the only thing we had left to do was walk into Sunday's office, and he's not there, which gives us the opportunity to snoop around. And then we have a very quick meeting with Sunday. And he's like, what are you doing snooping around in my office? And Welt is able to talk his way out of it pretty effectively. Sunday's still coming off looking quite evil, just quite villainous. Like he's very clean and well presented, and he looks good. He's like, he's got like the angel thing going on, but God, and he always talks very nicely and politely. But you just feel like there's just like he's like Pinacone itself. It's like nice and good, but there's something wrong underneath it, and you just feel like this man is full of rage. And he just is full of hate. Presumably it's because his sister was just murdered or something. As far as we know, I'm still not even convinced. I don't even know anymore. But I don't know. Maybe he's just like, maybe he's always been like that. What's more relevant, besides how ominous he left us, what's more relevant is the stuff we dug up as Welt and Acheron. Basically, a lot of reading. Only a couple of them were worth reading. The rest were just like big details that I was like, I didn't need to read that. But it was a letter from his sister, Robin. And she's like, and she talks about what's a letter from his sister Robin and a letter from Odie. Those are the two, which is the head of the Alfalfa family. Those are essentially the two bigger pieces of info you dig up. The letter from Robin is basically like Robin saying, I've been having voice issues, but it's not normal. There's something wrong with the harmony, which is, the Eon, the harmony, and the thing the whole family works off of. The magical space god powers. The Cthulhu monster that is the harmony that keeps them all connected. She's like, there's something wrong with the harmony because that's what I used to sing with. This can only be done, there's like some strong force messing with the harmony, or somebody higher up in the family is, doing something wrong, like being disharmonious and disrupting harmony. So we have this like hint that there's a traitor in the family. And I'm like, well, is it Sunday? He seems kind of angry all the time. But Robin was like, no, I know it's not you, brother, because of our promise. I'm like, what the hell's the promise? Makes me wonder. But then she goes on to just like list some things, what's going on, what she thinks about it. Does she talk about death? I don't know. She might talk about the death meme here as well. Um, yeah, I think she does. And she says this death meme might be because of the traitor. Then you read through some other documents and you realize that Sunday has been researching death for a while. It's had many victims, and they're looking for like suspects, and there doesn't seem to be any pattern. There just seems to be a lot going on. Um, and presumably these people aren't like dead because they're just like dying the dream in a coma kind of thing. Because otherwise, how would they hide just this many people? But I don't know. It's still like a little up in the air that little bit. And then you have the final dirt you dig up in his office, which is the letter from Odie, um, who is the head of the Alfalfa family. And it's kind of like some good advice, and then some like I don't know. It's some like politics kind of thing. So it's like this nice letter that's like, hey, Sunday, I know you're Robin's brother, but you're also head of the Oak family and like running Pinacone, and we have a big festival on right now. And if you let your emotions get the better of you, you are going to put Pinacone in danger. You are going to, um, you know, like abuse your position. You're going to hurt people, and you're going to give people reason to you're going to give them dirt on you because they might try to like impeach you or get rid of you or any of this. And he says, I know. And it's just kind of general. Like, I felt like it was good hearted. You could see it as like inconsiderate, like, oh, don't care about your sister. We got things to do. But I really thought it was good hearted because, especially at the end, he's like, look, just get through the Charmony Festival without anything going crazy. And then I'll do everything I can to help you. Even if you just are after vengeance, I'll help you up through the vengeance. And it wasn't, you could see it like, well, he's the one threatening him to impeach him if he doesn't shape up. But I didn't get that feeling. And he also says, like, probably the more story relevant thing is that, yo, I know you think it's the watchmaker, but I know the watchmaker from even before you were, inducted into the family, and I don't think it's him. I don't think he's the one doing the death. Which is really funny because we just heard from Gallagher that the watchmaker, the current watchmaker, the person acting in the watchmaker's stead, is trying to undermine the dream because there's a falling out with the family, particularly the Oak family, who Sunday's a part of. However, the corruptions in the dream seem to be going around and longer, like the ticker tock clocks getting messed up, and people just having some bad dreams and some creepy gears and stuff. That stuff seems to be on a different level than the death meme that's literally going around killing people. So I get the feeling that, like, okay, if the watchmaker is doing, or the current watchmaker is undermining the dream, it doesn't necessarily mean he's the one controlling the death meme and killing people, right? I could see those as being two separate instances of problems that Pinacone is having. But it seems like Odie's letter seems to imply that Sunday thinks it's part of what the watchmaker's doing, and Odie's like, no, I know this guy. He's not. Which is interesting that he knows him, but they're supposed to be at odds. So like maybe the whole family isn't at odds. Does Sunday know who it is? Odie seems to know who it is. I don't know. Do they mean Mikhail, the original watchmaker? But they should know he's dead, and that's from a really long time ago. We don't really get a sense of how long these people live. We do, we got that weird, like, how old is Gallagher thing kind of going on. And Odie's talking about like before you were even inducted into this, and you get the feeling that Sunday and Robin have been around for a while. So I don't know. And he officially signed the letter as Old Man Odie. So we're supposed to know Odie's old, but I don't know like how old. So anyways, I guess that was whack the desk. I guess that was more that was pretty story heavy than I thought. I told you it was a little piece at the beginning, a little piece at the end, but those were just like bigger lore like sections, like make you think like what is going on. Then like I said, Sunday comes in, is like, what you doing snooping around? And Welt cleverly gets out of it by saying, oh, we wanted to ask you why you thought it was somebody in the family and not like the IPC member, because like IPC seems to be really after you, and that really just acts as a segue, because Sunday's like, yo, who's ever doing this would not be as ostentatious as that crazy IPC ambassador. Like, like he has no grace. We all know he's causing a disruption, and nobody, is somebody this deep causing this big of a problem wouldn't be that obvious. And he's like, but you should really watch out for him because he's doing something weird. He's at the Clocky World. He's at the theme park, and who knows what he's up to. And then it like gives a really spooky camera shot on Sunday, and he's like, you never know what's gonna happen. And you're like, what is going on? But then like the primary play session is this scene. It's basically a map exploration of you going through the new Clocky World map, the theme park map, as Aventurine. And it's a deep dive into his life. Like, I kind of thought this whole patch would be like we get the deep dive into Aventurine, and this is when it really hits. Like, this is the Aventurine patch. I mean, I know Acheron kind of stole the show, being the first banner and what everything, and then one, and then being May and Raiden, everybody's looking forward to. But this is really the Aventurine patch. I mean, we still got the end, but I think the ending is going to be Aventurine 2, based on what they showed for the boss. So you really get like a glimpse into his mind. Basically, it goes like full Dickens, and Aventurine is like dying from this harmony thing, and two ghosts show up. One who identifies himself as Aventurine's future, and then one who looks like Aventurine as a little kid. And they essentially lead him through the amusement park and dig deep into his psyche and to his motivations and to his past. Just his life story. And I thought it was really good. Like, one of the nice things about gacha games, you're like, why am I bringing up the genre here? Because they live on the strength of their characters, right? Like, that's essentially their business model, is they want you to want the characters. And there's multiple ways to do that, but the way Hoyo has decided to do that is just to make them like good characters in the story that you would like the kind of like the good like writing characters. I don't know if they're like good writing or not. I don't know if I have the credentials to judge that. But as far as like compelling characters in a story, that's what they're trying to do. And I think it was really fun to just take this deep dive into Aventurine and really figure out what's trying to go on with him, and still leave a lot mystery, still leave me excited for the next bit, the finale of this patch, which is probably the finale of the Aventurine story. Whether it's because he doesn't make it out of this, or because he gets arrested or something and he's done for. But I don't think he'll have a part to play in the story after this. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. But it was really fun to dig in there, because he starts like he has introduced this patch, or last patch, this chapter. He's introduced this chapter. He comes out of nowhere, technically as like a voice line at the end of the Eurillo interim chapter, but where he calls Topaz. But he just comes out of nowhere. You can tell he's slick and greasy, and he's got a lot of, is bravado the right word? I don't know. He looks like a peacock. Like, they put peacock imagery in his outfit, and it's for a reason, because he's strutting around like he's hot stuff. He's the hot shot gambler, right? And he's not, like, he kind of threatens you. He's kind of like, oh yeah, you want to be my friend? Here, I'll give you everything you want. Here's some money. Here's some stuff. Just be my friend. I need friends. And then when you're like, I don't like this, he's like, yeah, well, you know what? I know your secret. I'm gonna, I need you to do what I want, or you're gonna be in trouble. And right, he's like threatening you. So you get this. He comes off as a villain, and I think one of the things Star Rail does well is have a bunch of characters, but they're not like all good guys. Like, in fact, a lot of the characters we meet are kind of antagonists, and if they're not antagonists, they're like they seem like they could be if we get in their way, right? They're not like out to make the universe a better place. They just have their own goals and they're going to achieve them. And right, if we get in their way, they're going to like they wouldn't have any qualms just being our enemies. And so you get like a lot of like interesting, compelling characters that kind of fill villain roles. You know, a lot of times with stories you get trying to be in the center. I think I'm failing. I think this is the center. The a lot of times with characters you get a bunch of different archetypes, but they're all like good guys. Think of like the X-Men or something. Like, well, there's the bad guys, obviously, but it's like there's a bunch of different characters, a bunch of different archetypes, but they're all like basically good guys. With this one, you feel like the train gang is kind of like good guys, and there's some good guys around in each place you go, but there's a lot of room for just not good people. Like the entirety of the IPC seems like kind of not good people. You know, you finally like Topaz they spend a lot of time with, and you finally, but she's not like she's nice and she seems understanding and she has like a softer side when you learn some of her backstory, but really like she has a goal and she's gonna accomplish it. And if it's gonna be some not nice things to get there, she's gonna do it. And she's considered one of the, by the end of that story, she's considered one of the nicer ones because she actually pulls back in the interest of being better to people and actually harming the IPC a little bit. And the implication is that's not normal. She's going to get in a little bit of trouble for this, even though she found a decent solution, because it wasn't just all in IPC, screw everything else. She's going to get flagged for it. So, right, like, and so she's the good one when she's not even that good. Is what I'm saying. And so here we have Aventurine, very villainous, right? He's working with Dr. Ratio, who again seems to be on your side, seems to be a good guy, but he's not really that good, right? Like he's just you know, he's just like he has his own goals, his own motivations, and he's not going to let things get in his way. So as long as your things match up, okay, but if you he could very easily be an antagonist. And Venturine's presented like right immediately, here's your antagonist. Here we go. Like several things in Pinoconi. But he has more layers. And this is all about finding his layers, going into his past. And I really loved it. I don't have a lot to dissect in the individual pieces. I thought it was interesting because I could go through all the pieces, but I think it's just interesting to like look at the bigger picture of Venturine and what's going on with him, especially when we don't have the last piece yet, which is what he does at the end, because it essentially like the last thing we see of him is he goes into he's like, no, I'm gonna do this. I have actually worked all this out. Everything I did was because I'm gonna make it work. Even the betrayal from Dr. Ratio is revealed. No, that was part of my plan. Either because he worked it out before him or he just knew he was going to do it. I think it's because he worked it out with him before. It was all part of my plan. I am going to end this. I'm going to end on this stage and do my grand performance, and I'm going to win. Right? It's going to take some luck, but it's okay because I'm lucky. Right? Like that's Aventurine. And then that's like the ending scene. He goes behind the curtain onto the big stage because there's a big stage on the map. But you don't actually go to it, and then it cuts. That's the last you see of him, and I feel like that's the last we're going to see of Aventurine until the other groups meet up with him and whatever he's doing. Because then you're with the other group. You know, Welt and the train gang have met back up, so it's a train gang and Acheron, and the whole thing is like, hey, we're going to work with Acheron now. And they're like, okay, we're all agreed to work with each other. We need to figure out what's going on with Aventurine. And then, and it's because it's like, it seems like Aventurine has set all this up for like to be a big trap for us all to walk into. And it's like, well, he'll reveal himself sooner or later, or else because otherwise the trap wouldn't work. And then sure enough, there's like an announcement. It's like all of Pinoconi come to this stage and Clocky World, and Aventurine's gonna show you the secrets. And you're like, oh my god, what is he gonna do? So that's his big play. And my best guess is his goal is to show literally everyone the truth of the thing, because there's something he figured out when he was talking to Sparkle that we don't know. Even through this whole deep dive with him, they still don't tell us what it is. But my guess is like he wants to destabilize the entire thing. He wants to show everybody this big secret, this truth that he's found, and he feels it will destabilize the entirety of Penacony enough that it will force the leadership of Penacony to come to the table with the IPC and engage in negotiations. Because I'm thinking like he might reveal something that like nobody will want to come to Pleasure Planet anymore. No one will want to come to Space Vegas anymore. So they'll be like shit out of luck with their economics and stuff, and they'll have to like take the IPC's deal. That's what I'm guessing, but we don't know. So, but that was like, so right, that's where we end up. But this whole time, it seems like something's trying to stop him from doing that. And he sees the ghost of his future, and this little kid from his past. It goes full Charles Dickens. They even have manacles. They don't shake them. There's no Marley shaking them, but they do have them because they reference his time where he was a slave. They show you flashbacks to how he got out of being a slave. They show you flashbacks of how he got into the IPC as one of the Stonehearts. And Jade is introduced, who is pink and blue. I guess Topaz is red and black and gray, but Aventurine is actually green. He's green and gold. But we see Jade, who brings him in, and we just get all these little things. So we kind of put together the pieces, and we even see another one of his past when he was a little kid. Like the flashbacks have kind of been going in order. The final flashback is again him a little kid, and it's like the last time he saw his sister, and you get this kind of like heartbreaking scene where she's like, no, everything's gonna work, it's gonna be fine, the IPC's on our side, the Catechins, which is the opposing group on their planet, are gonna come and try to kill us all, but we got the IPC this time. And from some of the other things that have been going on, the past that's been dug up through this deep dive section, that his sister doesn't make it out of that. He runs away like she told him to and gets out of there, but she doesn't make it. And they don't show that part. What they do is they switch to an IPC broadcast that's like, our IPC broadcast has been a horrible thing. They're basically just reporting on what later becomes known as the Catechin Abjin extinction event, I think, where they're all like, I can't tell if like everybody died, or if it was just the Abjins. Ooh, that would actually color this very differently. Basically, the report comes in and says, "Oh, it's a shame. The Abjins, who we liked, got into the Catechins came and attacked them, and it was terrible. We don't like the Catechins. This was definitely bad for the marketing department." And then they say like 10,000 people were lost, and it was like, if the sister's there saying, "Don't worry, the IPC is going to help us," this seems like a really low population planet, because it's desert, very hard environment. People are having a lot of trouble. Like 10,000 people. Like, IPC, what did you do? Why didn't you save these people? Like, they thought you were going to save them. And I never quite figured out if the Catechin Abjin extinction event wiped out the whole planet or just the Abjins. I know the Abjins were wiped out by the Catechins. If it's the former, if it's just the Abjins, then the IPC failed in their duty to protect them, either because they didn't care or they didn't try hard enough. And that is some bullshit. And you're like, why is he working for the IPC? Or if it's both of them, if they actually just wiped the planet, then that means the IPC didn't care and they just went in and wiped everybody, which is also bad. I could see the IPC can actually see the IPC doing the latter. Yeah, that's a wild implication. But again, that would depend on. I just never quite. They said it at some point earlier, and I never quite was clear on if the Cadogan Avgin extinction event was everybody, the whole Sigonia, or if it was just the Avgin people. Because Aventurine is rare because he's one of the few Avgins left. Potentially the only Avgin left. He believes there's more, but he's never like seen any of them. So there's that. But yeah, it seems like we don't know who the ghost of the future is. It keeps saying it's Aventurine, but it also asks him strange questions. Like it's trying to figure out his psyche. And you know, if it was Aventurine, why would it need to do that? The past Aventurine is very much like a picture of what life could have been if everything was happy and good. But also because he still has his parents and stuff, and they're here just visiting Clocky World as a vacation. But also he reveals like, oh no, I live here in the dream. And so I kind of think that I don't know if they'll ever explain it, but I kind of think the Ghost of Christmas Past and the Ghost of Christmas, I mean Aventurine's future, are actually like either Aventurine's regrets about what he's doing and what he's gonna do, that are like trying to get him away from it, or manifestations of the harmony and the or maybe manifestations of the dream or something that are all just trying to stop him from doing this. Because ultimately what they offer him is stay in the dream. You could be this little kid that you always wanted to be, where your parents never died and your sister never died, and you just get to be with your family and have fun. You know, you could be that. That could be you if you just stay in the dream and don't do this. Right? The future guy's never presented as like, you know, I'm living better because I didn't do this. Again, he's the future ghost guy is mainly just there to psychologically torture Aventurine and bring up horrible things from his past to mess with him, call him out for being a poser, call him out for being scared, call him out for being insecure, call him out for being a big bluffer, because of all these things, and just kind of like make him rethink, just make him question himself. That's what it seems to be. And so you get all this crazy backstory. You get the idea, you get some like info on Aventurine that like he believes life is an investment and it's about, you know, you make the right choices and things work out. And you're like, that's kind of weird for a gambler. But then he's like, I don't know how to make the right choices. I don't know what they are, but I'm lucky, and that's how I get through. I luck through all the right choices. And you're like, that sounds like a gambler. You also get that through all this that he really doesn't like cheating, and he has like these definitions of what are cheating, and you're like, that's kind of odd for a gambler. You'd think he'd want to win at all costs. No, he likes the gamble. He likes the gamble. If he's cheating, there's no gamble. There's no risk. There's no chance he might lose. And you're like, wow, what an interesting like character like dissection we got going on. So you just get these little like pieces of Aventurine and just like making you feel like I'm attached to him. I understand him. I kind of get what's going on. You kind of start to see why he like bets his life all the time, because he just kind of feels guilty that he didn't die with the rest of his family, and he should have died a long time ago, so he just bets his life all the time, just goes all in and sees if luck carries him through this time, because he has this association with luck, which is associated because his mom said was blessed by Gaia the Triclops, which was the god of that they had in Sigonia. And so he's like, well, we'll just see if I really am blessed, you know, and we'll just go with it. And then he even has a moment where he thinks, am I actually lucky? Am I actually blessed? Or is this just all random bullshit and none of this matters? And he's like, God, that would be a really dark world, that just all this bullshit happened. So then you get the idea that maybe he just believes in this luck, in this deity power, blessed by Gaiathra luck, just because it's like a coping mechanism for how terrible his life has been, to be, like for his people to be abused and destroyed when he was young, to being one of the only survivors, to ending up as a slave, to having to do some horrible stuff. Like it seems like he had to kill his slave master and whatever, because he wasn't a nice guy. The guy who ended up buying him didn't seem like a nice guy, but it seems like he killed him, and that's how he ended up, in custody by the IPC. And then he had to like gamble again to see if he could get out of it. And they were like, you know what, you're doing some crazy stuff. We'll hire you. We can make use of you. That's what the IPC does. And you could tell it's just all this, like, because that's what the whole chapter was. It was like this whole, like, the crazy psyche that is Aventurine. And I don't know, if you check your quest log, when all this, he's like chasing this kid around, trying to figure out why the kid looks like him the whole time, where this other ghost version of him is telling him he sucks and stuff. And if you look at the quest dialogue, it's like all corrupted, like it's missing pieces. And for different parts of the quest, it's like really messed up stuff. It's like, you can't escape your past, you can't escape your past, you can't escape your past, just over and over, and it like gets more corrupted as it goes. Or you have no future, you have no future, you have no future, as it gets more corrupted as it goes. Or it's like worthless loser, 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 worthless loser, and you're just like, what? And it just gets more corrupted. You're like, what is this? Like, you really get this picture of this psychological torment that he's going through, either because of this moment or just because he's facing death right now, because he's on a timer, because Sunday's essentially poisoned him with the harmony. It's more space magic than that, but like Sunday's essentially put him on a timer where he's gonna die. And it's just like it's like he's reassessing his whole life. He's reassessing what he's doing. He's like, am I making the right choice? He like goes through all the opportunities he had to get out of this, where he could have just, like, instead of getting poisoned, right, he could have just joined the family, right, and abandoned the IPC. All this crazy stuff. But in the end of it, he's like, no, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make the bet, and I'm gonna bet my life yet again, but I'm gonna win because I'm lucky. And then I'm going to get out because I won. And then I won't be a loser. And, the loser repeated like so many times in that, like, a wall of, with one of the quest texts, which was like a wall of just insults to himself, had special meaning to me because he's a gambler, right? It's not just he's a loser. Oh, I'm a loser. I mean, it's relatable, but it's, no, I'm a loser. I lost the bet. I lost the bet. I lost the bet. I'm not lucky, right? It's that kind of thing. So, but he comes out more driven than ever, and it's like a little touching scene where his future says to him, hey, you should say goodbye to your past, the kid deserves it. And it's like, and he does, he has like a kind of nice moment with the little kid before he finishes the scene and goes on stage, to start the finale of this patch story, presumably. And it's kind of nice because it's like he's making peace with his past self before, presumably, he goes to die, because he's betting his life. He's already on a timer. He's slowly dying, right? And he's betting it all. So it's like, well, I better make peace with my life before I go. It was actually really touching. It was really great. I really enjoyed it. That's probably all I should say. This video is getting quite long again. That's probably all I should say about Aventurine's story. And we've already talked about the other two little pieces. The last thing I'd like to bring up, just because I didn't come up anywhere else, was within all that Aventurine story, you actually you hear about another gamble he made, that does seem to be relevant to the story, and that's, he has his Aventurine cornerstone. And you're like, wait a second, how does he have the cornerstone? And then it starts talking about how there's 3 cornerstones here in play. And you're like, how is there 3? There was Topaz's, and there was Aventurine's, and he tried to trick Sunday by switching them out and getting his back. But Sunday, because Ratio's betrayal, which he's saying he's part of now, and Ratio, he's like, he knew about that and was planning it. But Sunday has both of these. So how does he have one? How is there a third one? And you realize, they tell you the big like twist which was pretty fun. It was a pretty fun twist. I don't know if it's actually hinted at or really was just a twist pulled out of nowhere. But the big twist was an Aventurine is often used as a counterfeit for Jade. And if you remember, Jade was another 10 Stonehearts that brought Aventurine in. So he didn't just borrow Topaz's cornerstone, he borrowed Jade's cornerstone and made it look like his. And that wasn't a Topaz and an Aventurine that Sunday had. It was a Topaz and a Jade, which means Aventurine still has his because it was in the bag of gems. And you're like, well, if he found the Jade in the bag of gems, well, how did he not find the Aventurine? And then you realize Aventurine says, well, he smashed it into pieces. He smashed his cornerstone, which is the most important thing to these 10 Stonehearts, where all their power comes from. He smashed it into pieces so it would look like regular gems. And he did confirm that means it is weaker. And the IPC is going to be pissed at him. But he's like, look, I'm going to win. I'm going to get Pinoconi from them. They will not care. Or they'll get over it. And you're like, does he really have an allegiance to the IPC? Or does he just need to win? Is he still just trying to buy his freedom and get out of this? You know, is he just trying to still be like worth something by winning? You know, because there's that insecurity implication that he bets big because, you know, a coward. You know, he can't possibly be a coward if he's betting big, right? He can't possibly be afraid if he's betting big, right? Only brave guys bet big, right? So that was wild. I don't know how that's going to come into play, but that was wild. She was like, there's a third cornerstone. I was like, holy snaps. I don't know. It was just, I don't know. There was a lot of fun in this one. And for a map exploration story segment, there was a lot of cool stuff going on. Made me really, really like Aventurine. I did kind of feel like we were going to get a deep dive into Aventurine right before he was gone. I have a feeling that we're going to kill him, dude. Or he's going to die. Or he's just not going to come out of this. I don't know. I mean, I guess he could live through it and then he's like arrested or something. But I mean, he's betting his life. Either he wins or there's a good chance he's dead. Like, he might be dead by the end of this patch. I don't know. There's the conclusion coming up. Who knows what's going to happen? Probably that. Probably, I think there's some other big reveals based on some memes going around that I've been seeing. And I'm like, how would that even come in? Like, we are so far away from any of that. But you know what I mean? Like, we got 2 deaths that we're trying to figure out. They could reveal that one or both of them aren't really real. There could be a lot of crazy stuff that happens in this conclusion. I'm looking forward to it. I had a good time with this deep dive. I love character-based stuff. I've always loved character-based stories. They're my favorite stories to dig into. And so just having this story, this little section out of Pinoconi where like we just dig deep into a character and really get to think about him and see his motivations and feel good. It's like, damn, I really want to pull on Aventurine now. Like, he's just so cool. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to see how it wraps up for him. And I kind of hope it'll wrap up good, but it don't look good. Man's got some problems, and he's tied him. He has tied him. He's bet it all. He's went all in, and it's, you know, he's playing with fire. It's dangerous. So we'll see. Probably one more play session. We'll do it. I don't know when that play session will be. Might be a little bit. Because, like, you know, sometimes it'll be like you play and then, oh yo, surprise, there's actually 10 more hours, or you get stuck on a boss for forever. So I kind of don't want to like try to rush it and finish it real soon. Kind of want to leave it some time to breathe. So it might be a little bit before we get to the next Captain's Log, but it will happen. I am excited for it. And I really need to stop saying these videos are going to be short, because that doesn't seem to happen. Maybe the less I think I have to talk about, the more disorganized the thoughts are, and so they just take longer. I don't know, but the video is long enough. Hopefully you enjoyed my thoughts and ramblings on this largely Aventurine focused section of the 2.1 story. We will continue the captain's logs as we finish the story as we go, but that's all we got for this one. So I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you around. Goodbye. I might just keep doing that. I don't know.